Hello, welcome. My love to all of you. This is Anshu Sharma here. Quantum creation, elementary particles. In order to understand quantum creation, it is important to understand elementary particles. The reason is the same universal laws of physics govern all micro and macro levels. All material and living structures are made from the same elementary particles. At subatomic level, we are connected to everything and to everyone in our universe. There is no separation. For many years, scientists thought that the atom was the smallest particle possible. Today, scientists have found even smaller particles that make up the proton and the neutron. Atoms consist of three basic particles: protons, electrons, and neutrons. This is an atom. So, atom consists of protons and neutrons in the nucleus, and it has got electrons, the particles which are circulating around the nucleus. The nucleus, the center of the atom, contains the protons and the neutrons. Protons are positively charged and neutrons carry no charge. The outermost region of the atom are called electron shells that contain the electrons which are negatively charged. Number of electrons are equal to the number of protons. That makes up an atom neutral because they are equal in number. There are two types of elementary particles: fermions and bosons. Fermions are the matter particles, while bosons are force-carrying particles. So, atoms are subdivided, the protons and the neutrons in an atom are subdivided into fermions, which are the matter particles, while there are other types of elementary subatomic particles which are called bosons, which are actually energy bundles. Matter particles fermions basically are quarks and leptons. Fermions are the matter particles. All matter is made up of fermions. Matter particles, some of which combined to make the world around us. So these fermions, the matter particles, are divided into two types of particles called quarks and leptons. Quarks are basic building blocks for protons and neutrons. So we studied that we have an atom and inside the nucleus are protons and neutrons. These protons and neutrons are subdivided into quarks, even smaller particles. A proton is made up of two up quarks and one down quark, while a neutron is made up of one up quark and two down quarks. Protons have a charge of +1 and a mass of 1 atomic mass unit. The number of protons in an atom defines the identity of an element. For example, an atom with 1 proton is hydrogen. So different elements, they have different number of protons and different number of neutrons and electrons. Now we discussed neutron are no charge particles. They are made up of 3 quarks, which are 1 up quark and 2 down quarks. Then we come to the other fermions, the other matter particles, which are called leptons. They are different than these matter particles in the sense these are carrying a negative charge. The charged electron is responsible for the electric currents. So we discussed, now we have the atom. Inside the nucleus are protons and the neutrons. Protons and the neutrons are subdivided into quarks, while the electrons, they carry a negative charge and they are orbiting around in the shells. They are heavier versions of leptons, which are electrons, are muons and tau. Muons are heavier electrons with negative charge. They are about 200 times heavier than electrons. And then we have these tau, which are neutrons, and they are about 3000 times heavier than electrons. Then there are other particles which are called neutrino. Neutrino have got no charge. Muon neutrino are heavier with no charge, which are about 200 times heavier than electron neutrino. And then we have tau neutrino, which are about 3000 times heavier than electrons, and they carry no charge. Now the difference between electrons and neutrino are electrons carry negative charge and neutrino carry no charge. So let's find out a little bit more about what are these electron neutrino. These electron neutrino, they are produced in the sun, and these particles interact very weakly with their surroundings, that they pass virtually unhindered through the earth. Millions of such electron neutrino pass through earth every square meter of our body, every second, day and night. Millions of them pass through, and they carry no charge. They do not interact with anything. Electron neutrinos are produced in an unimaginable numbers during supernova explosions. These neutrinos are abundant in nature, and they are produced in large numbers. In processes such as nuclear fusion, stellar collapse when the stars collapse, and they are also produced in billions and millions in black hole collisions. The nuclear fusion reactions inside the core of the sun produce electron neutrinos in huge numbers. So it is these particles, they come to the earth and they disperse elements produced by nuclear burning into the universe. How they affect us? These elements include the carbon from which we are made. So when neutrinos come, they do not react because they have got no charge, but they disperse the elements. So when they come into our body, they disperse the carbon from which we are made of. And they also disperse the oxygen we inhale and almost everything on earth. Therefore, in spite of the reluctance of neutrinos to interact with other fundamental particles, they are vital for our existence. The other two neutrinos pairs called muon and tau are just the heavier versions of the electrons. Life on Earth is based on carbon. Likely because each carbon atom can form bonds with 4 other atoms. So they say, and we know that our body is primarily made from carbon element. Because the carbon atom can form bonds, 4 bonds, up to 4 bonds with different atoms of different elements simultaneously. So this makes carbon well suited to form long chains of molecules that serve as the basis of the life we know. So carbon is the element which is making up our proteins and DNAs. Now second type of elementary particles are bosons. Please stay with me. It may look very complicated, but in the end it is very, very simple, and this basic knowledge is essential for our understanding of quantum creation at subatomic level. So bosons are the force-carrying particles. That means they are not matter particles as we know, like protons, neutrons, quarks and leptons. But they are energy bundles. They are bundles of energy. These force particles which create the interactions between matter particles. So because they are the force, like a glue, they join the matter particles together. Otherwise, the matter particles will forever float separately in the universe. In order to form a definite shape, we need these matter particles, and we also need these force particles which combine these matter particles together, hold them together like glue. So these make up 4 fundamental forces. Photons, responsible for electrical and magnetic field. Then we have the strong force particles called gluon. Then we have the weak force particles, and then we have the gravitational particles. So they are divided into 4 fundamental forces: gravitational, electromagnetic, weak and strong forces. So let's discuss the first one, the electromagnetic force. Photon is light. Light is made up of a type of boson, which is a force particle, and it is called photon. A photon is the smallest quantum of electromagnetic radiation. It is the basic unit of all light. These photons are always in motion. And in a vacuum also they can travel at a constant speed. That's why it is referred to as the speed of light. The light moves in waves, and light can travel even in space. So what is actually in light is the photons, the smallest particle of light, which are always in motion. A photon is a particle of light and is responsible for electric and magnetic fields. So when we say that our thoughts and emotions get influenced and they create electric and magnetic field, is due to this force which photons carry. The photon is a particle of light which is responsible for electric and magnetic fields created by exchange of photons from one object to another. Then there is another strong force. This strong force is called gluon. Gluon act as a force carrier between quarks. It's the gluon force which holds the quarks together, making up protons and neutrons. To make the nucleus of an atom heavier. Then we have the weak force. These particles, we will not go into too much details, just the names, which are called W plus, W minus and Z0, which are responsible for the process of radioactive decay and for the processes in the sun which make sun shine. Last we have the gravitational force. The sixth particle, the graviton, is believed to be responsible for gravitation, but it has not yet been observed. So in the end, let's cap it all. It is believed some of these objects, subatomic particles or fundamental particles they are called, they make up the entire atom. It's not believed, it is a fact. These subatomic matters, subatomic particles are the fundamental subatomic particles. They make up the protons and neutrons in an atom and electrons going around, orbiting around. These atoms combine to form the molecules, and then they make up every element we know of. These subatomic particles have no size of their own, and that's why they can have no substructure. These particles, they combine together to form the atoms, and atoms combine to form molecules, and then they make up the elements. In the grosser form, we are able to see the matter, but we are not able to see these subatomic particles. All matter is made up of one or more basic materials combined together. Scientists have identified around 100 basic types of matter. And these 100 basic type of matter are called elements. So matter can be made up of a single element, or matter can be made up of a combination of many different elements. So we have seen today that these subatomic particles, they make up the atoms. Atoms combine together to make the molecules, and the molecules combine together to make the elements. Elements are about 100 basic types of matter scientists have discovered, and the matter can be made up of just one element, or it can be made a combination of many different elements. So that's all for today. Thanks for listening. We are doing a series on quantum creation. So we will be referring to these subatomic particles as we go along to make our understanding clearer. So please watch my two playlists, Quantum, where I have talked about fractals and other things. But if you want to do a structured course in quantum creation, then we are starting this. Watch my playlist season 4 quantum creation for more understanding on creation at quantum level. Once we understand creation at quantum level, then you can virtually create anything you desire. If you like this video, please subscribe and share for the benefit of all. Till we meet again, take care. I love you.